Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to you on this October 17th, 2025. I got all your stories for your rush hour ride home. And while this might sound redundant, we have updates regarding Taylor Swift and Blake Lively. That'll be our first story of the day. That being that Taylor Swift, through a source, is now saying she's gone no contact with Blake Lively since this whole Baldoni thing began. It's very fascinating after Taylor Swift's album came out, and some people thought that Blake was a part of it in some way. There was a like by Blake to Taylor's album on Instagram and then unliked it. So we'll get into that. It's very interesting. And then we got Laura Owens. Unbelievable. As Laura Owens, the lady who was accusing Bachelor Clayton of being the father of her unborn twins. Of course, it was a complete scam. She's got a trial coming up in Arizona where she's charged with 7 felonies. I'm a star witness for the state of Arizona. Well, Laura Owens has a trial coming up very, very soon, I believe this coming week, in San Francisco regarding an extension of a restraining order she has on her ex. And the witness list is absolutely insane. So we'll be getting into that story. Plus, we got some more info on Venezuela, as it looks like I don't know what to believe other than I think the United States of America, the country I call home, I'm a citizen of, might be provoking a war with Venezuela. And now we have top military officials stepping down. So pretty wild situations going out there in the Caribbean Sea. We'll get into that, plus ICE, as we are just a day away from what might be and is projected to be the biggest protest in our country's history. All these stories and more starts right now on The Rush. As promised, because it's Friday, we're going right up top with this Blake Lively Taylor Swift story. This article was published yesterday called "Taylor Swift Has Had No Contact with Former Bestie Blake Lively Since Justin Baldoni Lawsuit Drama." Listen, you don't want to cross Taylor Swift, right? She's as kind as they come. Everyone loves Taylor Swift until they don't. Now, other than, a couple ex-boyfriends that are on the no contact list, you don't hear this too often where a relationship can crumble so quickly. But of course, it's pretty well known at this point that the relationship stalled out after Blake Lively used Taylor Swift as leverage for, commandeering more power on the It Ends With Us set. And there has been rumors recently that they got back together. I didn't believe them whatsoever. I've been steadfast that, according to my sources and hunches and bro intuition, I was like, no, this relationship's over. Why would Taylor want to get back a friendship with Blake Lively when the trust is gone? And seemingly the comment section agrees. Brian Friedman wouldn't sign an affidavit saying that Taylor Swift felt extorted if it weren't true. No amount of groveling will ever make them friends again. This is definitely from Taylor to everyone saying they're not friends. I just wish she would just say it herself and be done with it. I hate seeing these back and forth love-hate letters. Yeah, so Brian Friedman, Baldoni's attorney, essentially said that a source in Taylor Swift's camp accused Blake Lively of trying to extort Taylor Swift. That source was Taylor Swift's dad. You don't mess with Taylor, right? There's a few things I can tell you about the United States. You don't mess with Disney. You don't mess with Taylor Swift. That's really it. That's all I got. Those are our modern day mob rule out there. You got to be on their good side. You see, Taylor, you see what I did? I'm on your team here. While Instagram scuttlebutt account De Moi reported this week that the former friends, whose relationship was marred amid fallout from Lively's legal drama with It Ends With Us director Justin Baldoni, had a quote-unquote low-key reunion, Page 6 hears otherwise. They've had no contact, a source tells us, saying that the once-tight pair haven't spoken since last winter when the drama surrounding the case began unfolding. Now, I don't know anything about Blake Lively other than, it's rumored that she's not the best to work with. Some people like her, but the question is, though, with folks like Blake Lively, and this might relate to Laura Owens, as there has been a lot of similarities with the two, in that Laura Owens, when you cross her, you are then enemies with her. And Blake Lively might be the same way. Like, Blake Lively's got friends, but the second it's over, I guess at least publicly they're not saying anything, but it seems as though Blake Lively has been, wanting it to seem like, hey, we're all friends. There's just been no statement. And I think that's what people want. It's like they just want a statement. Let us know. Will you get back together? And look, we've all got friends that sometimes you just like grow apart from. But in this case, Blake said that Taylor and Ryan Reynolds were her dragons to her Khaleesi, and that, along with the private extortion trying to get Blake to sick her fans on Baldoni, was enough for Blake to say adios, amigo or amiga. But the question I have is, Taylor, if you don't support the claims Blake was making, shouldn't you publicly speak in defense of Justin Baldoni? You know, Baldoni tried to get her to be a part of the deposition, and Taylor's response was basically, look, I don't want to be a part of the deposition. I will if you're gonna force me, but I don't want to do this, because who does, right? She's busy, straddling redwood trees over there in the forest. You know what I mean? All right, folks, that's, you know what that's all about. Okay, anyhow, so there's your update. And I believe this is true. There's been no refuting of this. And again, you might say, Dave, I understand how it all seems like fan fiction to get these back and forths, but you have to understand, this is how the pop star communicates. They communicate with a little bit of, I don't want to call it plausible deniability, but they communicate through the unnamed sources as a way to say, no, that's not the truth, this is. There was a lot of people that thought Taylor Swift was secretly MAGA. I don't know why. They thought she was secretly back with Blake Lively. They're really friends, you're not. And it really plays into that audience's desire or need to find conspiracies sometimes where there are none. No, the truth is, they're no longer friends. That's the truth. Taylor doesn't need Blake. She's got a fiance. She's got her own circle. What is that thing that they say? Trust is hard to acquire and easily broken. Whatever the phrase is. The point is, it takes a lot, especially if you're a pop star, to find out who to trust when people are selling your, gossip to the highest bidder and, using you for their own gain. And she says, nah, I don't need that. And good for her. Well, how about this? Eminem is now smitten with his stylist. He found himself a new woman, and sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ the rapper is dating Katrina Malata, a stylist and makeup artist based in Michigan. Now, listen, is that rare, right? A guy ends up marrying or dating his stylist. My wife has been trying to be my stylist for 12 years. She wants me to get baggy jeans. All the kids are wearing these baggy jeans again. And I was like, honey, I'm settled on tapered, skinny jeans. That's it. That's who I am. She's like, well, you're going to look old. I am. I'm almost as old as JD Vance. Let me have it. This is the age I am. I'm not going back to Jinko jeans and bootcut jeans. We did that in the 90s. It was a no for me then. It's a no for me now. Anyway, congrats to Eminem. So we actually got some interesting stories to get to, but let's do this. Let's reset the deck, pay some bills, do some ads, and then when we come back, I'm going to get into some other stories going on involving this comedian in a giraffe suit arrested by federal employees. So that's the world we're in. We'll be back with that right after this. Telehealth has made mental health care more convenient and accessible for millions of people. Finding a suitable therapist in the expensive out-of-pocket cost still keep many from getting the care they need. Rula is on a mission to make high-quality mental health care from a licensed professional easy and affordable for everyone. Rula's got you covered. They take most major insurance plans, and the average copay is only $15 per session. Rula partners with a network of over 15,000 therapists and psychiatrists nationwide, enabling you to find your personalized solution and the right therapist for you. Thousands have already trusted Rula to support them on their journey towards improved mental health and overall well-being. So head on over to Rula.com/rushhour to get started today. After you sign up, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Go to RULA.com/rushhour and take the first step towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares. Today's episode is sponsored by Mint Mobile. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. That's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. So ditch those overpriced wireless plans. All Mint Mobile plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/TRH. That's mintmobile.com/TRH. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Well, before we get to the protest updates, we have a lot to talk about regarding that. You have to know that today's afternoon rush hour is going to be, it's been an episode I've been dying to do for a long time. I interview one of our audience members here at The Rush whose husband has a Bigfoot encounter. You guys know we've been talking about Bigfoot. And I said, if anyone's out there, statistically, we got a big audience. There's got to be a few people that have seen Bigfoot. And sure enough, I have a pretty convincing story. And it took place a couple decades ago, but they retell the story like it happened yesterday. So that'll be this afternoon rush. And I tell you that now because, a lot of times on YouTube, you got to play the thumbnail game. And sometimes if you don't see one of my videos pop up, you think I didn't make one. And that's just because YouTube, it's a fickle bitch. YouTube will only, share things if the click-through rate is high enough at a certain percentage. So I'm here to tell you, the afternoon rush, check out my Bigfoot story. It's a good listen. So anyhow, let's get into Laura Owens versus Mike Maricini. Laura Owens, she faked twins with Clayton Echard and seemingly with Greg Gillespie and also Mike Maricini, amongst possible others. She's threatened to sue me for defamation. She probably will still sue me for who the hell knows what. I mean, she's just a little tied up right now. Her family's dealing with bankruptcy. This after she was, allegedly flaunting the millions her family was worth. Well, the trial date is now set for October 21st. It's right around the corner. And now we have the witness list being compiled by Mike Maricini and Laura Owens. This trial is the domestic violence restraining order, DVRO, that she has against Mike. She's trying to get an extension. The judge has said, I don't want to hear anything that happened before 2020. I want to know recently, why do you need to get this extended? A lot of restraining orders, they just go away over time. And Laura comes, she's got this bogus idea that Mike's some threat. Mike's got 2 kids. He's got toddlers. He's got a wife. He's busy with work. He lives in a different state. I mean, talk about he's just not that into you, Laura. Either way, she's been raided by the police. She's got 7 felony charges against her in Arizona. Could serve over 20 years in jail. Let me tell you something, Laura. He ain't going to be a threat to you when you're in prison, okay? But either way, the jig continues. Mike lists his witness list, including Laura Owens. The purpose is to cross-examine her regarding prior false statements under oath, fabrication of evidence, pattern of fraudulent claims, the absence of any objectively reasonable fear of future abuse, and they're imagining it'll be a 120-minute cross, which is insane because you might remember the Clayton Echard's trial from June 10th, 2024 was only a 2-hour trial. Initially, it was supposed to be 45 minutes long. This trial will be several days. And look who we have here. Greg Woodnick. Old Zaddy Woody's going to be there. Family law attorney from Arizona. The purpose for Mike Maricini, expert opinion on petitioner's pattern of fabricating abuse allegations. That's Laura. Misuse of court processes and unreasonable fear under Family Code 6345. Corroboration of findings in Arizona paternity litigation. Now, here's where our audience comes in. John Burial, digital forensics expert. If you guys don't know, we helped raise $5,000 to hire this guy, John, in order for him to verify literally thousands of text messages where Laura and Mike were going back and forth, text messages that show that she faked domestic violence because she faked the photos that were used. She faked cancer. She faked medical documents. It's unbelievable. So the purpose is the expert testimony confirming that multiple documents and digital exhibits submitted by petitioner were fabricated, altered, including falsified medical letters and ultrasound images. And then they've got Terry Bowe, Arizona investigator. Purpose is to testify regarding the criminal investigation of Laura Owens, culminating in a May 2025 grand jury indictment charging her with fraudulent schemes, forgery, perjury, and evidence tampering to explain the investigative findings showing a deliberate pattern of deception. We also have former Bachelor and also victim of Laura Owens, Clayton Echard. He's a fact witness. A whole 60 minutes there to describe petitioner's false paternity and abuse claims against him, her use of forged evidence and identical behavioral patterns demonstrating lack of credibility. Laura, you are fucked. Also, they got our boy Greg Gillespie. He's there to testify about the fake pregnancy abuse allegations in 2021. So wait till the judge gets a hold of all of this. Now, what's really interesting about this trial is Laura Owens did the unthinkable. She, in my opinion, committed witness tampering as she was responding with her witness list. So there is a witness. I'm going to urge people to just accept my summary of this and don't look into it. I'm just going to urge people out of respect for those that are not trying to be made public here. There's a witness for Mike Maricini's side who is a former friend of Laura Owens, someone who wants to cooperate and I guess recant or change their previously sworn statement. Yeah. Basically, years ago, and I'm just going to summarize this in a super, general way. Years ago, in support of her friend, Laura Owens' friend said that, what Laura Owens was alleging was true. Not that she saw any abuse firsthand, but Laura Owens' friend, let's call it Jane Doe's friend, or whatever. Laura Owens' friend, wrote this statement, and it was like a statement supporting Laura and getting this restraining order. Now, it's very easy to get a restraining order on someone you have previously dated. They don't ask for too much evidence. I mean, look, Clayton Echard has one against him, and all he did was accept a couple charitable blowjobs. You know what I mean? He did nothing, except pick the wrong person. Be careful and don't shit where you eat, right? So in response to Laura's former friend flipping on her for no other reason other than she probably lived with the knowledge that she did the wrong thing, not knowing at the time. Who doesn't want to stand up for your friend? See, you have to understand, when Laura Owens and Mike Maricini, there was no internet connecting her to any other patterns of abuse, right? But the craziest thing happened. I mean, unbelievable. And luckily, I'm pretty sure this information's not online. So I'm just going to summarize it. An amazing thing happened, and I don't mean that in a good way. Laura put rumors about her former friend, one of the only people to stand up for her. Like literally the last bridge Laura could burn, she burnt it to the fucking ground. I'm telling you, of all of the things that Laura Owens has done, this to me actually felt like the most maniacal. She had a friend who, for no reason tied to any of this drama, wanted to push away from Laura. A friend that finally saw how toxic Laura was, pushed away, maybe soft ghosted. Some of this I'm imagining because I don't know for sure. And Laura, in her own defensiveness, made up a story as to why her former friend would flip on her. Not because Laura's a piece of shit human. According to Laura, it's because, and then Laura inserted rumors that have nothing to do with this case, nothing whatsoever, that would damage this former friend's personal life if true. I've spoken to people who say none of this is true. And I believe that. And it doesn't even matter if it were. It just goes to show the levels at which Laura would go to cross, to destroy, and to sink people, all to preserve her lies. This is evil incarnate, that is my opinion. is that this is as evil as it gets. And as I'm saying this is worse, in my opinion, than stealing ultrasounds of babies you found online. This is, I mean, how do we, we have to have the offended Olympics here. She created a fake black journalist in order to smear Clayton Echard. She's literally done it all. She stole an ultrasound from her sister. She stole video of her dad on his hospital bed rubbing her sister's pregnant belly, claiming it was her. I mean, this is batshit banana land, right? It's batshit banana land. And yet what I witnessed happen yesterday takes the cake. Luckily, those that have left Laura's circle and broke free are happy. They're like, it's like a sanctuary of former victims that all just get to prance free now. So as much as it must suck to get pulled back into this orb of, idiocracy by Laura, I just want these victims to know you have great company. You're not alone. And there are more of you than you think. But I'm just telling you, I don't know what the judge is going to let into this court case. And I understand those that are going to say, Dave, you shouldn't even be mentioning this because it's so egregious. But I just have to say, because it is out there in public and in record form now, how dangerous and toxic and manipulative it is for Laura to try to pull this shit. These judges, they were not born yesterday. And when the judge reads what I read, they're going to absolutely see witness intimidation. They're going to absolutely see Laura just in the deep end, just pulling people down with her. And this judge, I've never been more confident this judge is about to right this wrong and get Mike out of this sham restraining order so he can go on with his life. Wild stuff indeed. All right, let's do this. Let's just take a break. I went on a longer rant than I had anticipated. When we come back, we're going to get into this Portland ICE battle that's going on where you have comics getting arrested, and then we'll talk more about JD Vance, that coming next. Telehealth has made mental health care more convenient and accessible for millions of people. Finding a suitable therapist and the expensive out-of-pocket cost still keep many from getting the care they need. Rula is on a mission to make high-quality mental health care from a licensed professional easy and affordable for everyone. Rula's got you covered. They take most major insurance plans, and the average copay is only $15 per session. Rula partners with a network of over 15,000 therapists and psychiatrists nationwide, enabling you to find your personalized solution and the right therapist for you. Thousands have already trusted Rula to support them on their journey towards improved mental health and overall well-being. So head on over to rula.com/rushhour to get started today. After you sign up, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Go to rula.com/rushhour and take the first step towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares. Well, it seems as though the feds are just looking for reasons to arrest people, and they actually arrested an iconic musician and comedian named Robbie Roadsteamer. Here's the clip right here. Robbie was just standing out, I guess, look at that, on a sidewalk, and I guess they told him to move, but it's like, come on, you're allowed to be obnoxious on a sidewalk as far as I remember. And so here he is. He's got a speaker, he's dressed as a giraffe, and there they are. They come in.
Leave him alone. What do you do? He's talking?
And they get him.
He's just talking.
And they arrest him. And look, it's just wild. It's wild what's going on. Musician and comedian Robbie Roadsteamer arrested outside an ICE facility during a protest. Video of Robbie's Wednesday arrest went viral. Shows him singing. Listen, I've got a bad voice, but I've never been arrested for singing. That could have been me. Guys, that could have been me right there. You know what I mean? And it's absolutely wild. We have the ability, the First Amendment right to protest, to peacefully assemble. What's going to happen tomorrow when we have the nation's largest protest ever? They're already talking about closing highways. Trump's going to close, I think, Route 5 in Los Angeles for JD Vance. I don't even know the reason why he's going to be there. All so that they can gridlock traffic. And I mean, put it this way. And I don't mean, and I hope I'm wrong. I expect that it's going to be violent, not because the protesters want it that way, but because there'll be agitation from Trump's administration. That's what I expect to happen. These protesters are literally handing out inflatable costumes for people just as a way to visualize how nonviolent they are. I mean, look at this. They got cows with udders. They got turtles and giraffes. And look, these are not violent people.
Testing them over and over again if they want to. We were watching clips of the frog, and it was like, we should just do this. We should just buy a bunch of them.
So they bought a bunch of these inflatable costumes. Big. I mean, big. If you bought stock in inflatable costumes, who would have thought that even before Halloween they'd be so popular? Wild stuff. Boy, Jimmy Kimmel, he's not holding back. Have a listen to this.
If you're wondering why our representatives in the House are not at work, Senator Ruben Gallego of Arizona did a pretty good job of explaining it.
Speaker Johnson is protecting pedophiles. That's what this is all about. Speaker Johnson is trying to cover up for pedophiles. Is that clear enough?
Sounds clear enough to me. I mean, a good branding. You know, if you can fit your slogan onto a bumper sticker, you're good. Magic Mike Johnson is covering up for pedophiles. That's what's happening by not swearing in Representative-elect Grijalda. That's what they're telling us, and there's so much going on that it's like everything's just smoke and mirrors, right? The government's got, they're blowing up boats in the Caribbean Sea. They're, arresting comedians dressed up as giraffes because they don't comply with their wishes to back up off of the sidewalk. And how about this? A top military commander overseeing the Caribbean boat strikes is stepping down. This is a huge story. The military is actually running these bomber airplanes off the coast of Venezuela. I'm telling you, it looks like the U.S. is provoking Venezuela to strike us so that we can invade them. For what? Their oil? I have no idea.
Is announcing a top military commander who is in charge of the U.S. Southern Command is retiring now unexpectedly. Remember, this is the region, of course, where those escalating attacks against boats in the Caribbean, those boats off the coast of Venezuela that the Trump administration has said have narco-terrorists on board. We're just getting in a statement here from the admiral, writing in part, "It's been an honor to serve our nation, the American people, and to support and defend the Constitution for more than 37 years. Secretary Hegseth says Admiral Alvin Halsey will retire at the end of this year. It's not clear why it's happening now, but it's coming, of course, as the president is stepping up that military campaign in the Caribbean, not just on the boat strikes you're seeing here, but as we reported right here last night with those authorization of the CIA operation inside Venezuela.
I mean, did anyone have it on their bingo card that Trump would start a war in the Caribbean Sea, of all places? Here's J.D. Vance. I mean, by the way, folks, make no mistake about my opinion. This guy, to me, feels like a super evil dude. So here he is when all of these text messages come out of these quote unquote young Republicans in this group chat. These are political leaders, some of which up to 40 years old. So 20s, 30s, 40. He says, oh, they're just, young kids, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't own up to the toxicity when it's his side. And then when it's on the quote unquote left wing side, they want to fire people and ban them and kick them out of schools for their speech. Have a listen.
Grow up. I'm sorry. Focus on the real issues. Don't focus on what kids say in group chat. The reality is that kids do stupid things, especially young boys. They tell edgy, offensive jokes. Like, that's what kids do. And I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives. And by the way, if they were left-wing kids telling stupid left-wing jokes, I would also not want their lives to be ruined.
When you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, call them out. And hell, call their employer.
Grow up. I'm sorry.
So there it is. That's J.D. Vance. And if you don't understand, he's a bitch. Okay, he's a troll. He's the one who says that women, he made fun of women who are single cat ladies, right? I remember Taylor Swift was one of them that he was saying that they'd be happier if they were settling down, and then by the way, these weren't jokes. these were like cruel messages about the R word, about gas chambers, about black men. I mean, just really the most offensive and racist messages you could possibly read. Not coming from random people online, coming from like the Young Republican Caucus or whatever they're called. And again, just so you know, JD Vance, it's dark money. Peter Thiel and JD Vance, how PayPal founder boosted the vice president candidate's political career. I don't know how many people know this. You should. So JD Vance worked for Peter Thiel at his venture capital firm in Silicon Valley. A decade after they met, Thiel would help Vance win a seat in the U.S. Senate for $15 million to support his campaign, which launched Vance to his selection Monday as former, this is an old article, but he became the vice president through the help of Peter Thiel, a country that's run by these billionaire tech oligarchs, and he's one heartbeat away from being the president of the United States. It doesn't sit right with me. So when this protest happens tomorrow, these protests over the weekend, just remember, don't accept how people frame this. They want to say these are pro-Hamas, Marxist, crazy left-wing lunatics. No, this is our country rising up. This is veterans. These are moms. These are people that want to fight for the freedoms that they feel are at jeopardy. And as we watched masked, men, detain other men dressed as giraffes, we have to wonder, do we have that freedom of speech? We're going to find out over this weekend. We're going to find out if this is going to be the beginning of Trump using the Insurrection Act to gain more control and militarize more of these cities that are just trying to protest our God-given right. It's heavy out there, but this is the world we're in, and this is how quickly it's escalating. All right. That's it for me. This afternoon, I got Bigfoot, baby. Do me a solid and check that out. We'll see you later. Have a good weekend. I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.